Ghosts of Yellowstone. '82.
I really like the image. The hot spots right there in the front right bother me a little bit. I would tone those down a little bit, but it is a very lovely print.
I really enjoyed the black and white on this. I think the contrast is really good. You have just the right amount of shadow, just the right amount of black detail, just the right amount of white detail. Tonality is beautiful. One of the things kind of holding me back a little bit was that on the upper right-hand corner, you've got a couple of the clouds up there. There's this white spot that are right along the edge. Just the white against dark projects, and it just kind of pulls your eye right up there. Otherwise, this beautiful image.
I like that, too, the comments that Tim made about the two spots. Also, the dark area of the plants in the far lower right, I feel that are almost too strong. Maybe you could, I'm going to use the word clone, and put in stone down below there. You wouldn't want to remove any of the cropping on that, but I feel that it is distracting. Other than that, you have a nice print.
GBH Silhouette. '79.
I think for a true silhouette, you're not supposed to have any detail. But I'm seeing detail right under the eye where the beak starts. I would tone that down.
I would flip the image. I love the graphics of this. If an art agency was picking this up, they would just travel all over this because they have room for text. But you weren't thinking about that, but it has some really nice feel to it. So keep working on it. I think it has strong possibilities.
Yeah, I think that if you crop down on the top a little bit, you could use a good couple inches off the top. There, on the left-hand side, there is kind of some space and things like that breaking into the water. The thing that really bothers me is the light trap from the neck that goes into the body. That's just that little piece of light shining through. I cannot get out from that. That was really holding me back. The fact that I really can't tell where the water ends and where the sky begins. It's kind of weird. I'm really not sure what's going on with that. Those were just kind of holding me back.
This is one of those only ones that said that for us not to debate it, but I actually like the line that doesn't have a horizon line. And I would actually make a pin down the necklines where I actually see the outline of the neck, bring it up, put some light in between there, red, so you don't have a catch, you'd actually see the line around the neck.
And then I'm on the other end of it, and I'm just observing, so I'm not judging on this particular observation. I'd like to see this as a vertical image. I get rid of the blue, and then I agree with Paul on getting a little more area in that between the body and the neck to show that that it is grapefruit heron. And then the other thing is I changed the title because when you go with what you have, the judges have to stop and try to figure out what you're meaning, and that will take a little bit of time away from the image itself.
Ready? Best friends.
Got it. Got it.
'80.
I like the storytelling of this. It's adorable.
I think this is a great captured moment. I like the print presentation of it. It's great. I think that the nice white key line around there is really nice. There are a few issues that I like the blurred background, some bright areas that probably need to be toned down a little bit on what would be the left side, and the horizon line there. There's a large white spot on the dot that probably needs to be toned down. There's some things like the older lady over there, the light coming through her mouth and it's distracting, but other than that, it's fantastic.
Last comment, I've removed some of the green of the leaves into where the trunk is so it doesn't go out of the image, and I would also bring down the density of the tree in the background, even though it provides a silhouette. All right.
Daydream. $77.
I don't mind the tight crop on this image. I kind of like where her eyes are up. The one thing that really bothers me is the specular highlight is actually through the people's eye instead of off the side, or it should be at the 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock position. I think the retouch on that is very, very nicely done. It's not overly done. You can still see texture of the skin. The hand pose is kind of, we got 3 fingers there. But, lighting-wise, I like it. The lips are a little strange. They look like they're kind of drawn on, but I think that's probably how she actually had her makeup done. But, yeah, I think it's close, but not too there.
Agreed.
Well, thank you.
All right. Shadow dancing. $79.
Again, I love lighting, and that's what photography is all about. And I don't see the real direction I see a butterfly lighting in your nose. But it's such a flat lighting that needs to be brought down as far as density all concerned. So I like the diagonal lines that were created in it. I feel that the hair is a little too bright and actually becomes a distraction. It could be cropped in a little bit to remove some of that. And I think the choice of color on her dress is kind of strong and doesn't fit in at all.
I would change the color on the dress to be more cohesive with the background. I think it's a pretty image.
I like the design elements on this. The bright spots on her hair really don't bother me too much because it kind of pulls all the way through the image, so you can see the lights coming through on the left-hand side as well as the right. And you see in the catch light in her eye, there's a little bit of that shadow. There's a little bit of a direction there, not much, but yeah, I really like the key line on it. I think the color choice was a good choice on that. Print presentation was done really well on this.
Okay. A vanishing breed. $78.
What I would like to talk about, because this is one of those images where Photoshop did not really help you too much. I think you lost some of the impact of this image. If this were a true black and white image done on film, this would be scoring in the 90s. But I see so much process in the digital realm that it starts to take away from it. So think about this as a true black and white. Bring it back to what it should be, and that's my opinion. I like it. I think there's too much foreground. Other than that, I like it.
Yeah, the lighting on this is a little bit on the flat. As far as the black and white goes, it's just it looks a little bit on the muddy side. It's not that you don't have that nice crispness on the black. I think that the left side of the image is a little bit too bright as far as the white sky goes. I think the rest of the sky has that nice kind of gray tone to it, but the white on the left is just a little bit too much.
Embracing Mother Nature. $77.
If this were being scored by impact and original thought, then I would score it quite high because I like the idea. It just doesn't follow through. Her hair should be messed up. This is a very, very cute image, but something in it that just doesn't follow through all the way through. So, but I am enjoying it.
I'm seeing a nice, direction of light there. That light is all through the highlights and shadows. What pulls me away from some of this is the white spot, basically right next to the left side of her face, as well as kind of the top area there. And then her outfit has that white lace, which is just kind of pulling me down in there. And then you have that bottom right corner where you have the blue and then the white and then her skin. I get stuck in there and I can't get out of that. So it needs, as far as presentation, pull something, a color from the image, just to kind of finish it out.
I might tone down that her right arm just a little bit because it's right next to the muddy arm and that darker light. That's where I'm getting stuck in that corner too.
Okay. For all time. $78.
This is a cute image. I'm not a big fan of photographing into a woman's armpit. So I don't know, I would have lowered the arm a little bit, shot it at a slightly different angle there. And it's pretty flat as far as lighting. They do have sweet expressions.
If this were cropped a little bit on the angle, where you would crop underneath the elbow, I can't show you on screen, but I feel that if it was just tilted up to the right and make it a longer horizontal, where his boutonniere would just be at the edge of the frame and come right at the top of her dress, I think you could eliminate a lot of the underneath the arm look. Because it's so powerful, that vertical and that triangle, because their expressions are darling. Maybe you could just come in real tight on it and just show the top of her dress.
I think the cropping on it would definitely take care of his hand, the kind of deepiness of his shoulder. And the white mat is typically not the best choice for composition. White always pulls back away from the image and also stay in there. So if you pick a color, maybe within the image, do it a little bit more dark, muted, so they stay within that image.
A penny for your thoughts. $77.
Well, I don't feel that we gave this all the justice. I think the title doesn't quite make sense. I think another title, Penny for Your Thoughts, so he's got a lot more than a few pennies there. He's got the penny bank, which is cool. And maybe it isn't the title, but I think that this is a fun image. Somehow or another, the white tape coming out of the image bothers me. If you could clone and bring up some of the texture of the wood underneath, I think that would help us from coming out of the image. The piggy bank is too bright on the left side. and the bag on the right side is too bright. You want to draw into the center of his eyes and his spot. It is a definite good photograph.
I agree. I like the concept. I don't like the light weight coming down, and I don't like what the effect did to the skin tones, and it almost looks like he has a halo on top of his head, and everything Paul said too about toning down those other objects.
Yeah, this is clearly a composited image, and there's evidence of it. Yeah, there's the elements really look like it was cut out around the chair. There's a distinct line that it was not the best extract shot. Around the hair of the boy is the same around the piggy bank. Then you have the background that was put in is just way too sharp. Typically I would say that's the sharpest point of the image. He looked actually, his eyes to me looked a little bit out of focus. They looked a little soft, almost like the dollar bill that he was holding was actually the point of focus. And the background is the sharpest point of that image. So if you're going to do a composite like this, blur the background a little bit. There's only one point of focus. And you want that point of focus to be the eyes.
If this were real judging, we would probably bring the points down because of the comics made.
Under the Sea. $77.
I like the concept of this image. There's just a few things technical issues that were pulling me down. I'm actually seeing what looks like some dust spots on the image on the left-hand side, upper left-hand side. The highlights of that arch where the aquarium, clearly the sky's coming through, is very bright. Their pose is a little bit stiff. I love that the seal is flying by right there. I love the concept. I like the leading lines leading into all that stuff. Yeah.
Give me the title again.
Under the Sea.
I agree with what Tim said. Those were the things holding me back. If you work on those things, I do think it is a cute image.
I personally don't think it will make total competition. I think there's such a strong attention to the seal that it keeps going back and forth between the bride and groom. It just doesn't go together.
Okay. Wild West. $78.
I think this image would benefit from cropping too. There's a lot of over on the right. I don't know. There's something that's holding me back from it. It's cute.
Yeah, the buckle is the highlights on the buckle is competing for the focus. You want the baby to be the bright side of the image. Clearly, the buckle is getting the most spectacular highlights. For me, the biggest thing that's holding me back is the baby looks like that focus. The rope clear at the floor and about halfway up is in focus. The baby itself is out of focus.
I agree.
Great. Freshly New. $75.
Well, we all love babies, and the mothers and everyone else. But I think that handling this could have been better. I want to see the reaction to the mother. There's a lot of feeling in relationship to a mother and a baby, and I don't feel that in this photograph.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel the vertical crop is probably the best choice on that. We have a decapitated mother. Technical issues, just the lighting on the belly seems to be a little bit bright. That high P coming around. The hand placement, you got some fingers kind of sticking out there. You can't see the other hand. Those are just things that can be corrected with some basic posing.
Okay, and a little bit